Temboo is a cloud service that makes it possible to create applications that combine Internet of Things hardware with many useful online services. Temboo provides an infrastructure that makes it relatively easy to get data from an Arduino or some other hardware platform and integrate it with online services provided by companies like Google, Amazon, and Dropbox. Temboo will not only provide this infrastructure that acts as the glue between the hardware and the cloud software, but it will also generate the code that should run on your Arduino to make the integration possible. Temboo is not only there to connect hardware to cloud services. It can connect software that you write and that you can execute on your computer to cloud services. Think of Temboo as an integrator. It connects software and hardware things to the cloud. In this lecture, I will introduce Temboo and discuss its basic concepts, especially that of the choreo. A choreo is a basic unit of functionality based on which you can create your own workflows. Let's get into it. Hi. This is the first of several lectures in this section dedicated to Temboo. Temboo is an online service, or so-called cloud service, that makes it easy for web applications to connect to microcontrollers or small computers, embedded devices. With Temboo, you have a framework that allows you to integrate hardware with cloud software. I'll give you a quick example before we get into some of the more interesting details. Let's say that you've got a little Arduino with a DHT22 sensor and you have it logging temperature and humidity readings. You can use Temboo to have the readings from the sensor recorded in a cloud service like this Google spreadsheet. So you can get it so that every 5 minutes, it will send a new record up to the cloud, or you can set conditions such as when the temperature increases, say, to above 30 degrees Celsius, then send out a notification via email or SMS, or when a loud noise is heard via a microphone, then sound an alarm and things like this. Your Arduino with its sensors essentially sits at the edge of the cloud. It senses its environment and it can also react to instructions that it receives from Temboo. And then Temboo orchestrates all that. Temboo contains the infrastructure that connects not just, of course, Google to your Internet of Things device, but hundreds perhaps of online cloud services. It's worth just going to Temboo on your own and having a look around. Just look at the examples and the videos that they provide and create your account. In my case, of course, I already have an account and I will simply log on and show you a few of the facilities that are available to you with your free account online. So here's the Temboo dashboard for my account. On the left side, I want to talk a little bit about choreos, what choreos are. So choreos are the services that Temboo gives you access to. You can see that there's a lot of different online resources that you can use. For example, there's a bunch of Amazon services here. You can have, for example, your Arduino interacting with Amazon's S3 service and store files on the cloud or read files from the cloud and so on. A lot of functionalities that are implemented. Each one of these functionalities is a choreo. Let's pick another one that perhaps more people are familiar with. Let's have a look at Google. I'll be using Google as an example in the next few lectures. That's mainly because most people are familiar with Google and Google services. So, for example, I can get my Arduino to send an email to an arbitrary email address. And to do that, I can use this choreo, this send email choreo. There's a few things that I need to fill in, of course. And then once I do that, Temboo is going to generate the code that I need to get the Arduino to execute in order for this choreo to function. It's as simple as that. So you can have individual choreos running on your Arduino, but you can also combine these choreos and create more interesting workflows. For example, let's say that you're building an alarm application, a security application for your home. What you can do is you can have your Arduino execute 2 or 3 choreos, one after the other. So in the first instance, when your Arduino detects movement through an infrared sensor, you can get it to send an email to your own email address to notify you. That would be one choreo executed. Then you can also get it to send an SMS message. So we can search for the library for SMS type choreos, and there's one here, right? So you can send an SMS message, and you can also get it to perhaps record the incident to a spreadsheet, again on Google. So for that, you would use the append row choreo. So one action, or I should say better, one trigger can activate, in this case, 3 choreos. And I'm also going to show you how to do something like this. Let's have a look at other things. Since we are talking about Internet of Things applications based on the Arduino, most of those choreos can run on not just the Arduino, but also other devices. You've got the Arduino Uno here, Samsung, Arctic 10, Texas Instruments Launchpad, and Temboo offers out of the box several ways to connect either of those devices to the internet and from the internet to Temboo. You can connect Arduinos such as the Arduino Uno with an Ethernet shield or a Wi-Fi shield, or an Arduino Uno which has Wi-Fi enabled, or other boards, as long as they've got some way to connect to the internet. You can also do streaming of data using Microsoft Power BI or Google BigQuery. You've got multi-device programming capabilities with MQTT and HTTP. A lot of really interesting capabilities are implemented very easily through Temboo. Also, Temboo is not concentrating on working with the Arduino only. If you go to the documentation, you can see that there's a few hardware boards that are supported, but then there are also multiple programming languages that you can also use with Temboo choreos. So for example, you can have a little script written in Ruby which will activate a Temboo, and that will trigger some action on your Arduino. So that way you can connect applications running on the desktop or on a server somewhere with hardware at the periphery of this infrastructure. So if you are familiar with any of those languages, then you'll be able to use your existing knowledge with Temboo. Temboo will also keep statistics on any activity that is taking place in your account. So you can have a look at what's been happening with your hardware and your software applications running on Temboo. In your dashboard, you can see how many choreos I've got running over like the certain period of time, how much data I have consumed, the choreos and when they activated last time. I've got access to logs, failure notifications as well, so I can fix problems with my choreos, and can also have notifications sent to me if a choreo fails to execute properly. Okay, now let's move on to a practical example, our first simple example of how to create a choreo and get it to run on your Arduino. Let's do that in the next lecture.